What's going on? This is Big G from G Riders, and welcome to another episode of Testing Rides. Today, I'm going to be testing out the 2020 Chevy Traverse LT Leather. Welcome to the 2020 Chevy Traverse. The Chevy Traverse was introduced back for the 2009 model year, and it was Chevy's first serious attempt at a 7/8-seater family crossover. So Chevy had made an extended version of the GMC Envoy and the Chevy Trailblazer back then. But simply put, it wasn't really big enough. So Chevy kind of went back to the drawing board and made that 7-seater version of that SUV its own thing, and that's the Traverse come in. So This is the second generation of the Chevy Traverse, and this was introduced for the 2018 model year. And for the 2018 model year, the Chevy Traverse got bigger, more efficient, more technology, and way better looking and way more modern. And also for that 2018 model year, that second generation of the crossovers, the GMC Acadia, the Buick Enclave, and this Chevy Traverse used to be the same exact size, and it would all depend on which brand that you want to go with. For that model year, they made the Chevy Traverse bigger, the Enclave stayed big, and the GMC Acadia got smaller. So it's kind of nice that there's 3 different vehicles on this particular platform, and you can kind of choose what size and price point that you want. With the Chevy Traverse being the best bang for the buck in out of those triplets. So this is the 2020 Chevy Traverse LT Leather, and this one and all Chevy Traverse come standard with a 3.6-liter V6 making 310 horsepower and 266 foot-pounds of torque. So since this is a 7-seater family crossover, it does weigh about 4,300 pounds or so, which is average, and it does get 18 in the city and 25 on the highway, which honestly isn't that bad considering how big this thing is. But again, that's kind of the industry standard for a crossover this size. All right, so since this is a 7-seater family crossover, these things aren't the cheapest things in the world, but this Chevy Traverse is the cheapest out of kind of all 3 of them. So the Chevy Traverse comes in about 7 different trim levels, kind of depending on what your budget is for the vehicle. So this one sits kind of directly right in the middle of all of those. So there is the L, LS, LT, LT Cloth, LT Leather, RS, Premier, and High Country, with the High Country being the most loaded model of the Chevy Traverse. So this one is a LT Leather. So this one means it's kind of a lower model, but it has the leather, so you get some nicer things on the inside of the vehicle too. So the 2020 Chevy Traverse LT Leather starts at about $42,000 with all-wheel drive and destination and everything like that. So this one has the LT Premium Package. So what the LT Premium Package gives you is these 20-inch wheels, and we'll take a look at them closer when we do the walk around of the car. Also comes with the rear view mirror camera thing, which is pretty cool, and it comes with a 360 camera system. And with all of those things added on the vehicle, that makes this vehicle about $45,000, which honestly, with as much equipment as this car has, that's really about average. I mean, these 7-seater family crossovers, they're kind of all competing with each other now at the same price point. I mean, there are some crossovers that give more bang for the buck, but they're all about $45,000 with the amount of equipment that this one has on it. Which again, 45 grand for a crossover this size and looks like this with this amount of equipment, it's not too bad at all. So let's go ahead and take a look around the 2020 Chevy Traverse and kind of see what it's looking like. Then we'll go ahead and hop in the interior and look at that too. So when editing of this video, I realized that the walk around of the 2020 Chevy Traverse has been lost. Since this car is not a redesign, and I don't think the walk around is very much important of this vehicle. So let's go ahead and jump straight to the driving portion. Welcome to the driving portion of the 2020 Chevy Traverse. Let's go ahead and head out on the road and see how this thing handles and drives. All right, welcome to the driving portion of the 2020 Chevy Traverse. And when you first head on the road, the first thing you notice in the Chevy Traverse is how comfortable this car is. Oh my goodness, this is a comfortable car. Like, the seats are nice and soft, supportive. Like, you got plenty of space in here for you and your family and your stuff. Like, you know, like it's great visibility out of all the windows. You sit high enough to see over everything, but low enough to where you feel like you're in the car. And I love how high the center console comes up here, and you have plenty of shoulder room and headroom. Well, the Chevy Traverse drives so smooth too. Like, it's so quiet on the road. Like, you don't even notice the transmission really shifting. It does have the 9-speed automatic in these SUVs, and you don't really notice it or feel it shifting at all. Like, the engine is silky smooth. GM's making this 3.6 liter V6 for years now, so they've kind of ironed out most of the kinks in it, which is very good. And, like, you know, the steering is easy. I mean, it's not a sports car, so I'm not expecting it to have like super responsive steering or anything like that. As I'm going down this mountain road, it still feels pretty fun to drive as fun as a 7-seater, 8-seater crossover can feel going down a mountain road. The brake feels pretty nice, and the gas pedal feels nice and easy to use. Everything in this vehicle is just easy to use, easy to drive. So this vehicle has 310 horsepower, 266 foot-pounds of torque, with, you know, the 9-speed automatic transmission, and this thing weighing 4,400 pounds or so. This thing actually is decently quick for its size. Like, I'm not gonna step on it right now, but I mean, I guess I can a little bit. Yeah, like this thing gets going pretty good. Acceleration with that 310 horsepower is pretty brisk. You know, it's not like a sports car or anything fast or anything like that, but it's still very, very good. And you know, that's the one thing with crossovers like this. Like, when sometimes some companies put the big V6 in there, and it honestly kind of sucks. Like the previous generation Ford Explorer that they went from 2011 to 2019. That chance for the V6 had, like, you know, it had a little bit less horsepower than this, but it kind of sucked, to be honest. And I'm very glad that GM gave this vehicle some pretty strong feeling horsepower, because I believe this vehicle has more horsepower than mid-2000s Tahoes and Suburbans, which is pretty cool, actually, that they managed to get that much horsepower and torque out of the V6. Remember, I said only horsepower. You can't match the torque of a V8. You just can't. Nobody can. Especially like a modern-ish V8. So, you know, what does this car compete with? So this car competes with a lot of the 7/8-seater crossover market is a very competitive market now. There's literally everybody has a entry in this market now, and literally everybody has redone or updated that entry as of lately, except for like companies like Nissan and let's see, maybe Nissan's the only one that hasn't updated their 7/8-seater kind of mid-size, but I'll call it a full-size crossover over the last couple of years, and Dodge Durango. But the Dodge Durango is a whole nother type of crossover. You know, it does, and also like both the Grand Cherokee and the Durango don't feel as old, even though they've been around for a couple of years now. But you know, everybody is coming up with a new, fresh 7-seater family crossover. So it is very important that the Chevy Traverse is very good. And honestly, this Chevy Traverse is very good in terms of its fit finish, its driving characteristics, its comfort, its fuel economy. Like at 18 city 25 highway, that's not too bad for a vehicle of this size. I would like to see a little bit better, but for what it is, it's not bad at all. And honestly, it's about average for what this is about average of what the other crossovers are getting in this class. So, you know, the Chevy Traverse is a great vehicle that Chevy is making, because it is a 7-seater family vehicle that's not a Tahoe, and if you don't really have Tahoe Suburban kind of money, it's a pretty, and you don't really want to spec one of these to the hills, you can get one for pretty cheap and have a very good family SUV. And you know, I'm glad that Chevy decided to do that with this model. But me personally, if I'm going to get one, I'm going to get one with at least a couple options. And I think the 1LT leather, if you add the sunroof and the front end collision stuff, you really don't need any other model of the Chevy Traverse. But I understand that a lot of that stuff comes standard on the Premier, so I honestly will say maybe only step up to the Premier or something like that. But I think the Chevy Traverse is a very good bang for the buck SUV. Like, I would like to see more like safety stuff, like adaptive cruise control and things like that, standard on this vehicle, because a lot of other companies are doing it now. I think Volkswagen just did that for the 2020 model, for the 2019 model year of the Atlas, and you know, Toyota's been doing it on the Highlander for years. sure Kia's doing it on the Telluride, but everybody's doing it now, and I think that that Chevy should catch up just a little. Chevy's not behind, but I think they should kind of keep up a little bit better with the competition by adding that in as standard equipment from this model and above, because this model is 45 grand. So at this point, I kind of would expect it. But you know, Chevy will continue to kind of improve this car and move forward as this vehicle goes through generation, and mid-cycle refresh and everything like that. So I'm not really worried that they won't do that at all. So you know, the Chevy Traverse is a very good 7-seater family crossover. It's comfortable, it looks good, fuel economy is good. It's a pretty good bang for the buck, and honestly, like, I just really like it. It's one of the crossovers that kind of, when you drive it, you're just like, oh, such a nice car. And you know, you hear the Chevy Traverse, you're just like, it's okay. But like these Chevy crossovers have gotten better and better over the years, and this Chevy Traverse kind of highlights kind of some of the best of quality and driving experience and bang for the buck that they offer with these crossovers. If you're looking for a good looking, decently efficient, pretty good looking, pretty roomy family 7 or 8 seater family crossover, you should definitely go take a look at the 2020 Chevy Traverse. And there are 5 different crossovers on this platform. So there is the Acadia, not 5 different, but there's the Acadia, which is a little bit smaller if this is too big for you, and there's the Enclave, which is it's the same size as this, but it's more luxurious if you want more luxury. And also Cadillac just came out with one now too, called the XT6. So that's also that one. So, and whenever I get a chance to get my hands on that one, I definitely will get a video out for that one. But based on the way this drives, I bet both the Enclave and the Cadillac version of this vehicle is amazing. So if you like this video, hit me with the thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, keep around me. Thanks for watching.